retail center, and the developer, who's actually the owner of the site, on that term.
You ready? This is a statutory public hearing called pursuant to the provisions of the Michigan Public Act 169 of 1970. May I have a verification of proper public notice?
Mr. Chair, proper public notice was provided for this public hearing.
May I have a summary of the historic designation process?
Mr. Chair, by the board members, in that summary was read for the previous public hearing. I will not repeat it, but I would like to indicate that the ad hocs for this study are Donyetta Jill and Norbert.
Okay, today come forward. Okay, at this point of the public hearing, the session is now turned over to Ms. Chapman or Ms. Brennan? Ms. Chapman, I'm sorry. Thank you.
The site that will become known as the Brewster-Wheeler Recreation Center Historic District originally was a branch of Detroit Public Library. The library was named for Bernard Ginsberg, a resident of Brush Park and a former commissioner for the Detroit Public Library. The Ginsberg Library was the 8th and last branch library funded as part of the Andrew Carnegie philanthropic efforts here in the city of Detroit. Construction began on the Ginsberg Library in May of 1916. Designed by the Detroit-based architectural firm of Milner and Ivan, the firm was best known for their work on commercial and brewery buildings. The total cost for the construction of the library was $40,000. By 1927, the neighborhood surrounding the Ginsberg Library was transitioning from a residential to an industrial neighborhood. The Ginsberg Library lost visitors and circulation numbers to such a degree that the library closed its door after 10 short years. The structure was then turned over to the city's recreation department. By 1929, the rec department constructed an addition to the original branch library building. The new addition included a gymnasium, a pool, and club rooms. The interior of the library was transformed into an auditorium. The building reopened as the Central Community Center. By 1935, under President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his the Public Works Administration, the neighborhood again began to change. They allocated over about $5 million for the construction of the Brewster home. This housing complex encompassed 22 acres and relocated over 718 families, most of them poor and African American. The public housing area also encompassed the Central Community Center, which was renamed the Brewster Community Center after the Brewster home in 1936. The facility was renamed one final time after Leon Wheeler, the first African American to be hired by the City Recreation Department. In 1968, approximately $100,000 was spent on the interior buildings improvements. In 1981, the interior and exterior alterations were taken on at an estimated cost of $900,000. 3 years later, a new roof was added to the buildings. By the 1990s, the NBA star Chris Webber donated money for a new basketball court for the Brewster-Wheeler Center. By the end of the 80s and into the 90s, the Brewster Douglas neighborhood had experienced a massive decline in population, and many of the housing units were vacant. By the late 2000s, the Brewster-Wheeler Recreation Center closed its doors one final time. It is now a single building in the midst of federal redevelopment land. The Brewster-Wheeler early career helped jumpstart the early careers of such people as a young Joe Louis, who at the age of 18 began his training as a professional boxer. Sugar Ray Robinson, who was inspired to become a boxer, would go to the center and watch Joe Louis spar there at the Brewster Center. Early Globetrotters from the city of Detroit also worked and practiced and were part of the Brewster Center. Young girl groups and guy groups who lived in the Brewster homes performed in talent shows put on by the Brewster Center. They later became part of Detroit's Motown sound that helped change the music industry.
Worked there, that played there, that learned there, that recreated there, if you will. I really would like this committee to think seriously about not only just preserving the bricks and stone, but in some way trying to regenerate the spirit. Maybe as a community center for an evolving community, but I think it's something that Detroit needs, the Hastings Street area needs, the Brewster area needs. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kidd. Great history lesson. So, Mr. Kidd, you're still teaching now, right?
No, I retired in 2010, but I'm still involved with community things. It's really a privilege to be asked to represent, and I keep up with students all over the world, going back to that first day, I still keep up with some of those kids, so it's been my life.
Good. Thank you. We have a letter of support from Reservation. Thank you, Mr. Joe Lewis.
Hello, how are you?
Great. And we're conducting a public hearing, and we wish to hear your comments, hopefully in favor of designation for the Brewster-Wheeler Historic District. Do you have a comment?
I do have a comment. The first thing I wanted to say is that I couldn't be more supportive of it being a historical landmark. Maybe it won't be, and it's really important for me to say that I'm a person who works with what he has, not with what he wants. And so maybe it won't be a community center, but the building itself represents the least and the lost among us. If we tear down everything, what will be left? You know, so many people came through those doors that went on to a better life. Possibilities were born there. Dreams were realized there. You know, who we are today isn't necessarily, hopefully it's not who we're going to be tomorrow. And hopefully that's the situation for Detroit. Detroit needs to know where it's been, to have any idea of where it's going. I think this building is incredibly important. The idea that there are people out there that don't recognize that is just mind-blowing to me. My father was a very humble man. He wasn't a person who believed in, he never would have thought of monuments being built to him. This building is not about my father. This building is about all the people who through there that carved out a better life for themselves, gave back to the community that they were from. So I don't really have much more to say than that. I hope, you know, when we look back at this time 20 years from now, that there will be some part of Detroit that's left, that we recognize, that we're grateful for. Because if there's not, I really don't know what else there is to say. I mean, we seem to be tearing down a lot of things that we're building up. I hope the building is not one more of those things that just goes to the wayside without any thought or consideration into what it meant to so many people, the opportunities it provided. So thank you very much for allowing me to say my piece.
Thank you, Joe Lewis Jr. Thanks for your comment. Yes, you can if you, what if it's ours?
Thank you, good evening. It's interesting to be on this side, but I just wanted to come by and, of course, show my full support for the historic designation. I've had the privilege of learning so much of the history in the building and learning the important role that has played in the community over there. There has been so many people that have organized and brought me pictures, articles of the history of that building. So it's important, like the gentleman mentioned, that we must honor the history of the city. We can't erase it. As we begin to rebuild, we have to honor the history. So I'm in full support. I also wanted to recognize Donyetta Simpson, who I've been working with. She's done an outstanding job of organizing the community to come together to make sure we have a strong voice in saving this historic building. So I'm in full support, and I'm hoping that we can move forward on the process today. Thank you.
Thank you. always nice to have council people present to see us work. Okay. John Barrow, would you like to speak in favor?
He's in the hallway speaking to,
Oh, is he? Oh, okay, well, we can come back.
Yeah, he'll be right back.
We can come back. I will. Bernetta Tirafora,
Bernadette,
I'm
Calvin
sorry,
Farrell.
Bernadette.
Oh,
Good. Song by the-
John is here now, John Farrell.
Oh, John Barrow.
Right.
Well, you can both come to the table.
Okay,
How's that?
thank you.
It'll work.
Hey, Mr. Barrow.
Good afternoon, first off. I guess I'm at a short for word. I'm gonna be really short. I recently found out about this last night. I received a phone call from a relative. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, I was on the phone I'm in the entertainment business. I'm film, music, so on and so forth. And I was on the phone with my investors and director this morning, and we were talking about Joe Lewis. I don't know, it's not public yet. We're working on a film project we're going to bring to the city of Detroit. And it was mind-boggling to them that the city, politicians, dignitaries, whoever, were even considering tearing down such a landmark. And then it was even more upsetting to learn that there are other things that they're considering removing as a monument to Michael Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis was my grandfather's brother. And I grew up in the city of Detroit, went to school at Schultz Elementary, Winship, Detroit Benedictine High School, and then went on to Southern University to get a degree in business economics. And the thing that's disturbing about me the most is that these type of centers and, outlets for our children are tremendously important. As I come up in my community, I talk to my friends and they tell me about all the stories, the hood glory of things that happened when we were coming up. And I don't recall those stories. And it was a conversation I had with my mom, and she asked me, I would ask her rather, why is it I don't remember these stories? She said, because you were busy. You were at Boy Scouts, you were at basketball practice, you were at football practice, you were at track practice. So things like this are important to our community. We wonder why we have so much crime and things going on in our communities is because these children have a lack of resources. I'm not saying that, like my cousin agreed, that it has to be necessarily a community center, but it can be used for so much more. I mean, I work with so many kids here. I brought a gentleman here who I actually worked with by the name of Trice. He's a former rapper, platinum recording artist from our city, Detroit, who I worked with for a number of years. And he's also in support of creating things like this to channel all this creative energy our children have. Because I work with these kids on a regular basis, and we have some phenomenal kids. My cousin's a playwright, and we're currently working on all type of projects to bring work back home to the city of Detroit.
Thanks for what you're doing in the city.
Hi,
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to introduce Ms. Bernetta Tirafora Kane.
I was gonna pronounce it before you did. It's Bernadette Talia Farrell Kane. Yeah. So, I also am here representing the Barrow family. Joe Lewis's father and my grandmother were brother and sister. I totally agree with both of my cousins who have spoken before me in all of their words and why the Brewster-Wheeler Center should remain or become historic. However, I part with them as to whether it should be a recreation center. I would like to join Mr. Kidd in his remarks. Also being a former Detroit Public School teacher for 20 plus years, as well as a juvenile probation officer in Wayne County, I have had the opportunity to work with our youth. And as we all know, there is a crisis with our young people right here in the city of Detroit. It is a severe crisis. And as both of these speakers who spoke before me, it's like, why would you be tearing something down? Why would anyone want to tear something down? And even if they allow the building to stand and turn it into some type of entertainment center or something, that is not going to help the youth of our city. And it is not what that building was intended for. And as the speakers who spoke before me said, you had too many people come through that center. You know about Joe Lewis, you know about Barry Gordy Jr., you know about Sugar Ray, you know about all of these great people. My father, who you don't know, Lucian Taliaferro. My uncle, who you don't know, Robert Finley. They also trained at the Brewster Center. So there have been so many people who have come out of that center, made something of their lives, and have moved forward. So I am here hoping and praying that you all will recognize what we recognize, not just the legacy and the history, but also the future that has to come from that building. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Ken. Appreciate it. Okay, we have Mr. Stephen Boyle, who'd like to speak in
A number
favor.
of issues, and I really think that our youth definitely need to have some place they can go and find the pride, the respect, and honor in their lives right now. It's something that's unfortunately being commoditized far too much. We need more opportunities for kids to just play freely instead of having to pay to play or have their hard work, their interests commoditized. Actually, the beauty of an inspired life is one that it doesn't have strings upon it. It can go where it wants to. And I think that a recreation center is one of those types of places where people can find themselves. They're not directed necessarily into this as if it's a school program. They can actually embrace what they find is important in their lives. And those are the kinds of programs that we need to have in our recreation center. Brewster-Wheeler is one of those places where a number of people found themselves. They found themselves pretty big. And hopefully we can return to that glory instead of breaking it down.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Okay, school for a long-term resident here in the city of Detroit, by Southwest Detroit, currently downtown Detroit, and I would like you guys to say who will represent because I'm really proud of that history too. And I'm proud of my friend Donyetta because she's pushing hard, and it's from her old neighborhood. I represent her neighborhood because I represent Detroit. And just like Southwest Detroit, the East Side, all of it's one city. And where are the kids gonna go? Where are the kids gonna go? I can't teach at the YMCA. Let me go and teach at the Brewster. Let me teach children's martial arts programs. Let me be there to help tutor those kids. Let's give these kids option of recreation versus incarceration. That's all I'm saying. And learn from our mistakes. We keep repeating the same mistakes. History shows you tear down history. We doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over. I've learned so much about the history of that place when I was a kid, living in the Southwest, when we were coming downtown, and we were on the freeway. That was like a landmark to me. Not to mention the buildings, what they built before they tore down and everything, of course. And I can't see it being anything else other than a recreational center. Especially since we did the Boosters, you have new projects for people to live in. Why not have a refurbished, historic recreational center for not just the children, but especially the children. Grown folks, but especially the children. They need a place to continue to develop and grow, and it does not need to cost an arm and a leg for them to be able to play and learn and develop and become productive adults when they get older. So I'm definitely in favor of saving the Brewster-Wheeler Center. I just had to at least say that and speak to my peers.
Yes.
It's been building up. It's been building up for a while. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Okay. Martin Tompkins Boyd would like to speak in favor of the designation?
I'll be short and brief.
You only have 3 minutes, so.
I've worked for the Detroit Recreation Department for 23 years. I have enhanced children's athletic ability and a mentor. It's very important that you preserve the Brewster-Wheeler. It must be preserved. It has to be. Who knows what God holds when the seed is planted? We must have something here to plant the seed to keep developing our youth. That's all I have to say. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who like to speak in favor of designation?
I just wanted to add, I've worked so hard for this, just to get to this point, for this historical designation. When I seen the building was up for demolition, I was so sad because I was a little girl that was going to that center every day to stay off the streets. Because I didn't have that mother, I didn't have that father, and the center was the only thing that kept me off the streets. I've organized the community, I've rallied, I did a petition, I've even reached out to the legendary boxers, I've reached out to their family, I've reached out to Gordy, I've reached out to Motown, and I just really hope that you guys would preserve this building. I really do. I've really worked hard, and the community has worked hard, and I am tired, but I'm still gonna keep going. I just really hope you guys preserve this building, because it's very important. It's important to Detroit, it's important to Michigan, a lot of people. That's it.
Thank you. Most helpful and enriching. Myself personally, financially, Joe Lewis means a lot to me as a person, and the image that he projected throughout the world. It's one thing I can say, we're fortunate to have Joe Lewis in our city. And, I'll leave that at that. The Historic District Commission, have any comment about the master plan?
This proposal is consistent with the master plan. I have had several meetings with Ms. Chapman regarding the Brewster-Wheeler. It has not been presented yet to the Historic District Commission, but I do not anticipate any problems with moving forward with meeting with the Historic District Commission on this designation. I'm sorry, I feel a little emotional. Those were some great presentations. And my mind is like, wow. Oh, yes. No, I don't anticipate any problems with the designation for the Brewster-Wheeler Recreation Center.
Okay. At this time, the public hearing for the Brewster-Wheeler Recreation Center Historic District is now closed.
Oh, you're on video now. With me.
We're gonna be on Facebook.
Yep, you know.
Oh,